With warm greetings, I extend my warmest welcome to the talk show Education 4.0 for Safe, Sustainable Societies.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the talk show organized by Samurja Educational Society on the theme Education 4.0 for Safe, Sustainable Society. We appreciate and applaud everyone, our panelists and participants for the zeal to share and passion to learn with Samurja. Samurja means the sum of creative energies. Here is a small video what Samurja does.
Samurja Educational Society, established in the year 1991, has completed its gratifying journey of 3 decades. The society was conceptualized with the objective of educating children and preparing them to be morally upright and vocationally independent. Ever since its inception, the society has continued to take tiny steps forward, redesigning the educational fabric in all possible ways through various educational activities, besides conducting social outreach programs like the Girl Next Door and the Charity War. Samurja is constantly striving to bring together some of the most ignited minds in the field of education to introduce change in the educational fabric of the nation by providing educational vision, empowering educators, inspiring learners, and elevating various organizations through training sessions, panel discussions, talk shows, conferences, and symposiums. The society has also conceptualized and published periodicals and magazines for students and teachers. Samurja continues to explore new domains, trends, and landscapes to enrich the educators across the country by equipping them to resolve the academic challenges in their classroom to make teaching and learning more joyous and engaging. It also helps educators realize their vision and collaborate with national and international educators to have sustainable societies and a happy nation, thus redefining the paradigms of Indian education. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Smile is the curve that sets everything straight. Smile is a therapy. A warm smile is the universal language of kindness. Every little smile touches someone's heart. Nobody is born with a smile, but everyone has the ability to smile and create happiness. Mother Teresa said, "Peace begins with a smile." The term sustainability focuses on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. The global crisis of pandemic COVID has put the world on roller coaster, and the most affected area is the school education sector. Teaching community, which has emerged as a warrior in adapting change swiftly, dealing with all challenges and ensuring that learning should not stop, has maintained their smile. Maybe superficially. It was not easy losing family members, relatives, friends, colleagues, yet continuously motivating students sitting across the screen who had also undergone the similar turmoil. The concept of sustainability is composed of 3 pillars: economic, environmental, and social. Sustaining smiles when economic condition is disrupted, when environment is distorted, when social distancing is the new norm. What we as an educator have to do, what others educators in different parts of the country are doing. Let us deliberate on this. We would like to know from our participants also through digital communication or verbal communication across the screen. I remember the advertisement giving the word reason to smile. It was the advertisement of Colgate long back. Kash ye ho pata. To deliberate on this topic, sustaining smiles, we have with us a highly modest, passionate leader and ever ready to help and support anyone who accepts the challenges with a blink of eyes, ever smiling, who is giving reasons to smile to everyone in his radar. Our guest, Dr. Sudha Acharya, Principal, ITL Public School. Sudha ma'am, we welcome you. Kindly extend the verbal greeting to our participants.
Good evening and namaskar to all.
I request Monica ma'am to please welcome and introduce our guest with a musical note. Sudha ma'am has recently appointed as the chairperson of NPSC. Sudha ma'am, please accept our heartiest congratulations for the same. And I know you will take NPSC definitely to a next level. Over to Monica. Please.
Thank you so much.
Till the pandemic, we thought that education is an equation that balances between haves and have-nots. But this crisis has provided us with more evidence of digital divide, that is, students who had high-speed internet connection and students who were left behind due to very little or no connection at all.
Unfortunately, we do not have with us our mentors, Dr. Ashok Pandey, Director, Elcon Group of Schools, and Dr. Rajesh Hasija, Director, Indraprastha Group of Schools, because of their personal commitments, but they have forwarded their wishes for the show as well as for Sudha ma'am specifically. Sudha ma'am is all-time favorite of both the mentors and the trailblazers of this talk show. Without further delay, I'll request Sudha ma'am to share her experiences, what all she is doing, how she has encountered and how she has dealt with. Thereafter, I'll request participants to please put in the chat box in case they wish to share something very, very specific which inspires the fellow educators. We will be, Monica ma'am will be providing the audio and video right to you so that you can share your success stories or the smiling stories. Over to Sudha ma'am, please.
Yeah. Namaskar and thank you, Mukta ma'am. Lovely video. I really enjoyed how you have organized that. Monica, can we start with those smiling pictures? That will just spread positivity and we all can have a smile. It's so cute. Yeah. So when I got the topic sustaining smiles, I did not think even 1 second. I think immediately I said, Mukta ma'am, yes. Because the topic is so good and so nice. She could think of this topic at this point of time when all of us are so busy in our life and dealing with pandemic and as school heads, how to reopen school and all. So this topic really attracted me. And I was thinking, oh, what a topic. I mean, this is the need of the hour. I mean, with all the challenges, how we are adopting and how we can sustain our smile. We can smile only when our well-being is taken care of, isn't it? So with the advent of NEP 2020, which is talking about inclusivity, equity, and excellence in education. So basically, it is centered around our children, but our teachers also. If a happy teacher only can create a happy classroom, as we say. If a teacher is mindful, then we can role model that mindfulness in the class and create a different kind of environment. So student well-being is present when students realize their abilities, take care of their physical well-being, can cope up with normal stresses of life, as we say, and have a sense of purpose and belonging to a wider community. During this pandemic, which was urgently or instantly, we were confined to our homes. We did not get any time to adapt to the situation. We didn't know what to do. In March 2020, suddenly our schools got closed. But as Mukta ma'am said, that as educators, we took care that learning should not stop. We connected with our children immediately. Our teachers got training and more than cognitive learning, more than academic achievement, we wanted to know the well-being of our students, how we can take care of them, how we can build a beautiful rapport with the family. So this pandemic, every challenges bring opportunities to change, which are overdue. Similarly, the pandemic also is the greatest teacher, I can say. We have learned so much, teachers became parents, parents took the role of teacher. So there was a beautiful correlation and partnership between school and family. When we are thinking about sustaining smiles, both teacher and taught, what kind of environment is required for that? And that means the well-being of the whole school approach. As we these days we are talking about whole school approach or a whole child, taking care of holistic development or creating that kind of conducive environment. I believe that every child can learn and thrive if provided with comforting, caring, compassionate environment, and every child can contribute to nation building. That is my belief. So for that, all of us must believe that inclusion can be a reality, irrespective of geographical, gender, socio-cultural, economic, or CWSN, any identity. Everybody can be accepted, valued, respected unconditionally in the school. Then only that happiness, that kind of well-being can be created. School is not a place only for cognitive learning or academic achievement. School is a social place where we think about socio-emotional learning. When I'm talking about well-being, it can be intellectual well-being, it can be social, psychological, or cultural or digital these days we are saying, and physical. So all together we try to take care. Our role is very, very important in society. We as teachers are the agents of change. So well-being matters not simply because it leads to a better educational outcome or can influence young people's outcome as adults. Well-being matters in the here and now and there. So by optimizing opportunities for young people to learn about well-being and by being aware of the protective factors that the whole school community can provide to enhance young people's sense of belonging, sense of well-being, school can make a significant difference. Talking about pandemic, I will just share my experience. whatever is there in my ecosystem, taking care, taking together all the stakeholders, my parents, my staff, conservancy staff, physical education staff, all teachers, myself, everybody together, we try to find out or formed a community and a 24/7 helpline. You would not imagine that at middle of the night also we have provided medicine, and in our school we had oxygen cylinders in the swimming pool area, in medical room, and our parents who are in police helped us to refill those oxygen cylinders. We have a lot of parents, so 24/7 we try to help our community. And so that instilled a value of empathy in our children, and the kind of happiness and contentment we got by helping each other, that kind of environment is required in the school place. So that is happiness and bringing smile in anybody's face. If you can change one soul, one life, make any impact, then you are successful actually. If you ask me what is the definition of success, for me success is not being a scoring machine as a student. If I can think about somebody else, if I can be in somebody else's shoes and do something, if I can be kind to somebody, if I'm kind to myself also, and if I can express gratitude, that is the whole concept of success for me. So this is a lifelong journey, but one where school plays an important part. The goal for well-being is human flourishing, and flourishing rests on 5 pillars. For me, positive emotion, engagement, relationship or partnership, and meaning and accomplishment. So these are very, very important. When children and young people are flourishing, they are not only curious and eager to learn, they are creative, they are imaginative, curiosity starts, and they are connected, empathetic, and good team players.
Monica ma'am, Sudha, just
Yeah.
Monica ma'am, you can stop the screen share and put Sudha ma'am on the main screen. Thank you. Ma'am, please continue.
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying that when children and young people, they are flourishing, they are achieving, they are not only curious to eager to learn more, but they are also creative, imaginative, they are empathetic, they are good listeners, and they're full of gratitude and resilient. Nowadays, we are talking about resilience a lot during the pandemic, and how the new norm, how we are adapting to changes. So if teachers are resilient, if teachers are mindful, then only we can role model that. And children, and now we see class 9 to 12 are back in school. The first day we just provided them opportunity for free flow of emotion. How was your journey? How did you take that pandemic period? What did you do? Did you help anybody? Did you help your parents also? So beautiful stories. There are beautiful, even some sad stories. I mean, one child kept on talking about the child who lost her father and is a doctor. So she was narrating her story and everything. She said, I could not cry in front of my mother, but I can cry here. I can express my emotion. Just listen to me. So just listening, lending an ear to her, I mean, comforted her. So that is the kind of environment we can provide in the school. So dealing with grief and loss, as you said, that losing a family member is not easy at all. And very young children could not understand. Our nursery children, they said that we are not seeing our grandpa. Where is he? Where is grandma? And it was so difficult that you will not see them anymore. So it is very, very difficult. So to counsel them, even children said that we never knew the dynamics between our parents. There was 40% rise in domestic violence also. So one girl said me, ma'am, I don't want to stay in my family, take me in. So 2 hours we kept on counseling, and then bridging the gap between children and parents also.
Right.
Parents complain that children are confined in the room and they are not communicating. Isolation was most important problem to solve with, and there was huge communication gap. And children lost their private space where they really come up and free flow of emotion. That was missing. School provides that. So now we see that when they are coming back to school, as I was telling you, I mean, for every small little occasion, they want to go on the stage and celebrate it on a grand way. They said that, ma'am, we want to be on duty. We were missing that for last 2 years. So give us opportunity. We want to celebrate each and every day. Nobody knows that when we'll be confined again. So teaching and learning doesn't take place only in the classroom. We can spread that smile around the canteen and the playground, in the lab, outside the classroom. Those informal breaks and informal interaction between teacher and student really
Sudha
create the
ma'am,
magic.
I would like to say that please share the example of your NPSC meeting, because when I was listening on the phone, I was, I was having goosebumps and I was so happy. Please share
Yeah,
it with the
yeah.
participants as well.
Yeah. So what we did, that entrepreneurship is a subject which CBSE is providing to all of us, but that we started learning by doing. So I have a startup project in my school where children from class 4 to 12 are involved. We created a Sanjeevani Batika where all the herbs are grown, be it aloe vera, amla, brahmi, ashwagandha, you name it, everything is there. So, and it is nurtured by the children. So children saw that somebody they are nurturing and it is growing, and every herb plant is named on teachers day. They gifted us a plant, and I have created a green wall of those plants which are gifted to the children. So we started with 3 products actually: mosquito repellent, and hand sanitizer, which is need of the hour, and floor cleaner, like that. But the commerce and science students, they joined hand together. Now we are producing 14 products: disinfectant spray, we spray, moisturizing bar, face cream, and organic hair oil, you name it, many products are there, even khadi organic products. So what happened, that what kind of learning children really took away? I mean, it is great takeaway from these projects, because I don't want my children to be employment seekers. Let them be employment providers. So that kind of grounding we gave. An NPSC executive meeting when I did, I was thinking that so many academicians and luminaries will come to my school, and what should I do? So then my children, they prepared paper weaving bag, quilling and weaving bag, because we follow say no to plastic. And they only don't do, there are a lot of NGOs and underprivileged children whom we call to the school, and then we train them also how to make these paper weaving bags so that they can sell it. It is very steady. So now they are selling these bags in the market. We taught them also how to make organic soap, how to make all these products. And Diwali time, all of us, we buy torrents, house decorative items. So all of us, we are doing it and training them also. So we are empowering our neighborhood, our community also. So all of us should rise and grow together. So in this bag itself, we kept all the things, paper and cardboard, multani mitti, and haldi. We mixed together, and then we created some triangles or beautiful shapes, and then painted it, Madhubani paint. And I have presented these to all the principals who came, and they were really surprised that children have done all these things. So these are products which are not product of handicrafts or art and craft. These are sellable in the market.
Right.
They have a price in the market. So that was my objective, that children should know how they can be self-reliant. If they don't get a job, they should not be dependent on anybody. So we have empowered them to take care of themselves. While doing these products, they learn the value of collaboration, because it is a team spirit, So that peer tutoring, that collaborative tutoring, these all happen. And when children actually go on stage, and then when we called parents, they were explaining it so beautifully. And they were taking the onus of learning and responsibility on them. My PTM is going on, and class 11 is going and saying, sir, you are waiting. Your turn will come after 10 minutes. Why don't you come and see our startup project and see, motivate us, inspire us, buy something. what I have done, the indigenous art, like NEP is talking about indigenous art, language, culture, heritage, Indianness in education. So what I have done is that Tanjore painting, Lippan art, Madhubani, Warli, or getting the pot of will to the school and teaching them, giving them skill, tie and dye, and giving them skill, and they produce then the products. So skilling them, upskilling them, and then starting a startup project, and then giving them the concept of self-reliance, taking care of yourself, taking care of your community, and peer leaders. I mean, student leaders. I have created so many student leaders who are taking ownership of their own thing. Even boys, I have done gender reverse role also. Boys have done beautiful jewelry, macram. So why only girls will make jewelry? Because they wear it. So boys have made beautiful jewelry, and girls have done other role, So that kind of education is the need of the hour. We can sensitize our children to take care of them, their family, and the community. So that kind, and then there the sense of well-being, that sense of involved learner. The document which I was going through, Nipun Bharat and NEP 2020, is talking about developmental goals aligned with competency. So first, developmental goals talk about health and physical well-being. Health and physical well-being of the school, of the whole school community. It's not only students, not only teachers, our parents are equal stakeholders, our conservancy staff are equal stakeholder. If you want to teach children care, compassion, or thinking about others, why not thinking about the people who are helping on the corridor to the children, our didis and bhaias? So when children come back to school, now they are alumni, and they touch the feet of the Didi who really in nursery took care of the child. It happened in my room, and Didi ki aankhon mein aansu thi. I mean, the girl is now IAS, Uttarakhand cadre, and she came and touched the feet of the lady who took care. Said कि मेरी नाक से बहती थी, and ये दीदी मुझे हमेशा गोदी में, and मैं बहुत रोती थी, ये दीदी मुझे हमेशा गोदी में लेके स्कूल पार्क में खेलती थी. So I remember. So much gratitude in their own birthday. If you can, in Diwali, there is joy of giving. If we can support marginalized, isn't it? So from NPSC also, we have launched the campaign Harit Deepavali, Sustainable Diwali, taking care of sustainable development goal number 3. That is well-being only. We can take care now. World Food Day, World Environment Day, all these things are happening, but we should celebrate all these things in letter and spirit, not just in pen and paper. Isn't it? So that brings smile. If I feel that if I can do something for somebody and the person is smiling, my day is successful. And so in the classroom, how I can do that? I always tell my students, I do not expect 95% from everybody. Academic achievement may be the priority for few, 2%, 3%, or 5% students. They are goal oriented. It's fine. I mean, if they deserve to be in IIT and IIM, that is the end of life, it is okay. But would they morally, socially, ethically responsible citizen who will think of the society and give back and nurture the society? Then only they can leave their trace. They can make a niche for themselves. They can carve something for themselves. Otherwise, you will be earning very well, raise a family, and lost somewhere. So that is not the goal of school education. So when I talk about well-being, I talk about a whole personality who takes care of himself, family, school, and community at large. So that's my goal, that if we are talking about well-being, Monica, can I show that diagram where I'm talking about aspects of well-being actually? And what is the role of really school leaders or educational leaders, how they can take care of all these things? Yeah. So I have taken 4 aspects. One is culture. Every school has a culture. When you enter my school, you can see the vision and mission in the reception itself. And Mukta ma'am, as you know, I'm passionate about inclusive education. So it is my first line is, every child is accepted unconditionally. So my vision and mission says that here every child is valued, respected, accepted, and that is my mission also, how I am going to achieve that. Physical and social environment brings also talks about well-being and happiness, and brings smile on each other's face. One is school culture, one is classroom culture. Every classroom is has a different dynamics. You know, when we I would not say that these are class rules, but these are mutually agreed agreements.
Okay.
You know, we say that mutually agreed agreements and voices and choices. So your voice counts, your choice also counts. We should provide opportunity or choices to our students. Let them take decision. That brings in decision making, independence. Because as Indian parents, we are very, very protective. We don't give choices and voices to our students. In the school, at least, we must provide that voice and choice to students. So in the classroom dynamics, when they are setting their own rule, it should be collaboratively made. The teachers should collaboratively talk to the children and invest some time on each child. I have a format called Know Your Child format. Like in bank, you say KYC.
Yeah.
In every class also they have a KYC format. It doesn't deal with academics at all. Whether the child is passive learner or active, participates in school activities, if the child shares lunch with others or sits aloof, I mean, these are few rubrics which we have developed to know the personality of the child. Then we can find out the strength and work on weakness and nurture the child. Even one more is plus, minus, and interesting. We ask the child, we did this activity during online. So what are the experience of during coronavirus itself? What experience you will cherish in future? What you did, something positive. These are plus. What are the experiences which are not so good? See, negative or bad experiences, nobody cherishes. So these are minus. What are some interesting experiences? Can you note down? Can you make a list of plus, minus, and interesting? So of course, plus and interesting experiences are your strength. You will cherish in future, and those which are minus, you would try to deal with that. Not forget, but deal with that. If somebody has lost a near one, dear one, let them take time to grieve. Give them that silence. Give them that privacy. They cannot forget that. So provide opportunity to them and help them to grieve. So that kind of environment. So there is a school culture, there is a classroom culture. These days, we are talking about anger-free zone. Sister Nivedita, I got it. And she said that make your school anger-free zone. And that starts from you, the school head. So that should be the culture of the school. Instead of yelling, shouting, and doing something, try to understand. So if you want to discipline the child, that's an important part. Do it privately, not shouting in front of everybody. So praise is most important thing, which creates happiness. All of us, we need appraisal. We need positive reinforcement. So students also need positive reinforcement. So when I'm talking about classroom culture, first thing is, does the child feel safe and secured in your classroom? Have you provided that kind of opportunity of physical, social, emotional security? You know, some children, they get positive vibe with some teachers, and some teachers, they remain reluctant or reclusive. So there we must know that, have I made the child safe and secure emotionally, socially, physically? That is the most important environment which we can create in the classroom, in the playground, in the lab, in playfield, anywhere, inside the school premises, inside the school transport also. So that kind of environment. As I said, a sense of achievement. These days, we have special need children also in the class, and children who have low comprehensive ability or low grasping ability, they also can contribute positively if we take care of them. Do we give them a sense of achievement? When we are doing teaching, learning, practice in the class, do we take care of need of each and every child? Do we give that opportunity that every child feels a sense of achievement? Yes, I can. So every child has their own strength. Somebody can present very well, somebody can speak very well, somebody can read very well. Do we really complement each other? Have we created a mentor policing or buddies? In my school, the buddy system works very nicely. Every child has a buddy. If the child is extrovert, then a passive child is the companion, because it works together. If a dyslexic child is there who has reading competency, low reading competency, then I'm pairing a child who has excellent reading competency. So they can complement each other, they can supplement each other, and one can be sole partner of the other. So that kind of culture can be created in the school. And in the assessment also, we can be very, very creative and innovative. Pen and paper is the last thing which I would try to explore. If you are teaching language, can we explore theater reading? Theater reading is beautiful, with intonation, with pause, where italics are written, where printed are written, where bold letters are written, how to go about it. It really creates a drama in the classroom, and you assess the child. For younger children, Mukta ma'am, I can tell you, I have experienced and experimented this also. Huge pieces of foam, I have just spread it on the foyer or school corridor. It is written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I ask children, walk down to 1, run to 2, hop on 3, walk back to 4. So like that. So I'm giving one step command. The child is following and doing. Can I assess the child there in a playway method? The child did not know that I'm assessing. This can be elevated. Walk down to 1 into 2, 4 divided by 2, or you can experiment with language also. So this kind of sensory path or sensory integration where the activities we plan brings happiness among children and among teachers also. So that kind of, and then when we are doing, I have written here CSPE, physical education, all these terms. That means in the class, civic, social, and political education, social, personal, and health education are integral. We are not talking only, already in NEP 2020, there is no barrier between scholastic and co-scholastic. We are no longer talking in that language. There is nothing called academic subject and vocational. There is no watertight department. Child can get any 5 subjects. So we have to provide that kind of environment and guide the child so that in future life, we do hand holding and how the child can be self-reliant. So that extracurricular and curricular learning, what I have written here, now the gap is minimized between curricular and extracurricular. So student-teacher relationship is very, very important in bringing smiles, sustainable smiles, or fulfilling the competency and achieve the goals. Peer relationship. Nowadays, we are talking about, even from CBSE also, we have got the circular regarding peer education program, developing student leadership. As I said, this startup project is student-led only. Our classroom should be student-centered only. We are being taught in a different way, because in our times, it was teacher-centric. But now, the classrooms are student-centric. Do we do simulation? Do we play games? Do we interact very informally? So, the other day, I was just passing the corridor and a class 12 boy said that, ma'am, did you have a haircut? You are looking nice. In our time, we could not think that principal is passing and we'll go and give such a compliment. I said, oh, you made my day. Stay blessed, dear. So that kind of openness in the relationship, student and teacher, peer relationship, teachers and head or authority in the class, in the school. So this partnership really matters. When we are talking about power game in school, there is a lot of power game. Nobody can deny. So there are power off, power over, and power within. So power within is most important. When we say that power with, that means collaboration. During our annual day, any school event, we really combine people, those who complement each other. So together, we want to achieve something. That is called power with. Together, there is a common purpose or to achieve something. Power with. Power over is always negative. So principal can have power over teachers. That is not required at all. Even power within. power within is most important. What you have, only 60% of our internal resources we generally utilize in our lifetime. There are many more resources are there we don't explore. So have we explored ourselves? So that is very, very important. And parent as our partner. I must tell you that 9 to 12 classes are back in our school and I am getting 100% attendance. Delhi almost more than 95. How did I get it? Because my parents are my partners. They came inside the school. They helped us in sanitizing labs, in advising us how we can do staggered entry, exit, even invigilation duty. All these things they have partnered with us. So there is no apprehension, no doubt, no suspicion that school is not doing or not taking care. So they're assured that this is a space where general well-being is taken care. So again, I'm coming to well-being, which is very, very important, and sustaining smile is a part of a happy classroom. As we say that happy classroom, happy teacher, happy child, and even we are talking about happiness curriculum done by the Delhi government. But it is said that if you want to create happy classroom, right in the beginning, there are 3 phases. In the morning, how we accept our children, how we deal with them during teaching learning process, and how closure is done. There are small activities. When children, they come, they do a mood meter activity. Teacher first identifies her own emotion, whether she's feeling, she's not feeling well, or she's feeling happy. Something happened in her house, so she's a little bit sad, or she's feeling, could not sleep in the night, so feeling sleepy, agitated. Whatever is your emotion, teacher identifies emotion and takes out that emojis. Smileys are there. And so in a flannel board, she identifies her name is written on an ice cream stick, and that emoji is stuck, so she is putting in that bracket. Similarly, each and every child is identifying their own emotion. And then the teacher really analyzes, how is my class like? What is the dynamic of my class? 60% of children are very happy, very agile, or 10% children are feeling low today. Some are feeling sick, something like that. So what is the happiness parameter? So that we can do right in the morning. Wishing also, that hug, that pat at the back, that hand on the head, that really creates magic. That personal bonding and rapport. Right in the morning, how the teacher welcomes. Similarly, how the teachers are welcomed by the school authority. Is it a welcoming environment? Does their emotional aspect, their psychosocial, does the school provide them psychosocial support? Do they feel nurtured? Then only teachers will nurture and take care of their children. So that kind of environment, so that I am talking about the school culture, school policy, and evaluation. Every year, if the head of the school is personally talking or giving a day to a single teacher, like what neural development you need, what kind of activities you would like to be involved with, what else I can do for you, what kind of training you need, what are the problems, what are the challenges, what are your strengths, and what you achieved. So all these things, if taken care, then the teacher feels valued. Same thing, then the teacher percolates down to students. So that brings in happiness, the overall well-being. So subject and whole school planning, as I say, that we all sit together. Is it shared vision or everything is centralized? If we involve our children in decision making, in school planning, in mandatory committees, we have involved them, they also have a sense of ownership, and they take the onus and they feel proud. Nowadays, we are talking about, the other day I was reading an article on Deshbhakti curriculum, which is now the buzzword in Delhi government. I told my children that whatever we do, it is for our country only. If I am teaching well, I am contributing towards nation building, because I am teaching the future of our nation. If you are doing well, if you are a very good doctor, you are doing service to the community, that also we are doing for the country. So what is worship? So whatever you do it with full commitment and passion. So with the amalgamation of head, heart, hands only, we can create global citizens which will with the values of tolerance, mutual respect, kindness, and acceptance. These are the values we must nurture in school. So, Mukta ma'am, can I continue?
Ma'am, you are muted. Mukta ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you can. There are some questions in the registration list
Okay.
that we can always take up.
Okay, so a little bit I'll talk about teacher well-being. Well-being starts in school with the staff. Staff means teaching, non-teaching, conservancy, all. They are in the front line of the work, and it is hard for them to be genuinely motivated to promote emotional and social well-being of others if they feel uncared for and burnt out themselves. You know, during this online and offline, really there is, I mean, significant amount of burden on our teachers. There is no work-life balance, and all these things are happening. So, do we really take care of their mental health? Taking care of mental health, socio-emotional health of children, first we must think about of our teachers. So, teacher well-being is shaped by individual, relational, and contextual factors. At an individual level, teacher well-being is concerned with a need for autonomy. Every teacher needs autonomy. Every teacher is a king and queen of her own classroom. So do we interfere there? You know, every teacher has a style of dealing, transacting in the classroom. Have they got that kind of autonomy in the school? Having a sense of competence, having a sense of achievement, a capacity for emotional intelligence, and a positive attitude and a healthy work-life balance, as I said. At a relational level, the quality of staff-student interaction staff-student interaction, staff and head of the school, and student peer interaction, that matters the most. So importance of a whole school inclusive culture with positive and affirming leadership is also very important in this context. As with student, teachers' sense of belongingness and connectedness to their school is very important. I must tell you here, in my school at least, I'm so honest with my teacher and so emotionally attached to them. They don't tell me lie and take leave. They know if it is genuine, our leave are always sanctioned. You know, so nobody goes for a leave if it is not required, and if it is required, they are very much assured that they will get it. And that kind of emotional bonding in the whole school is very much required for teacher well-being. And then when teachers well-being is taken care, then it percolates down to the classroom. The physical environment of the school also matters. The physical environment of the school matters to the student experience of well-being. Each school has a distinctive atmosphere which usually reflects the extent to which the school takes care of social, emotional, physical needs of those who learn, work, and visit. If you visit any school, as you enter the school gate, sometimes you feel very, very welcoming. You know, when NPSC executive body meeting happened, and when all the principals were leaving, at the end, they have given me comment or on my personal window. We felt so individually taken care of, that somebody is coming to our vehicle and giving us, handing over our small gifts, or telling them goodbye, and each principal was individually taken care by a teacher, so they felt very happy. So that was so welcoming as they entered my school, as they left my school. So that kind of personal care and attention, do we provide that? So that really creates happiness. This is a very small thing, but I got beautiful comments that the way you took care of us, that was beautiful. You know, one principal said all your teachers were looking beautiful and very well dressed. So I asked one of the teacher, what is the matter? All of you are looking so beautiful. Is it one of the prerequisite for the recruitment or something? So he said, no, our principal says that that come to school professionally dressed up. If we are dressed up, that means we respect our profession. You know, so dressing up doesn't mean that hum shaadi mein ja rahe hain. but at least, children feel so happy to see a well-dressed teacher, a teacher who is happy, smiling, welcoming. When you are happy and smiling, when you enter your class, your children are standing and really waiting for you. When your children are standing and waiting for you and smiling, and when you enter and when you leave the class, they stand up and tell you, "Thank you, ma'am." That really brings a hope that you have done a great service. So we may be master of our subject, we may deliver very nicely, but these are humanistic skill we must not forget. We can transform ourselves from human being to being human. To be successful in life, we may acquire all technical skill, all managerial skill, but unless we have people skill, we have humanistic skill, or unassailable skills which cannot be assessed, like kindness, like humor, like gratitude, or these kind of skills which will take you really to the top ladder of any profession you have landed. So that should be the culture of our school and culture of our classroom. So everybody will rise, shine, and grow together. So that kind of physical environment, that kind of social space, we must provide to our teachers as well as our children. So in the school, don't believe that teaching and learning takes place only inside the classroom. Tell your children, if you are going somewhere, a train journey, I mean, complete diversity you can see. If you travel from Kolkata to Chennai, see the diverse world. We see different kind of cuisine, different kind of costume, all geography, history, everything, topology, and everything will change. That's the kind of beautiful landscape we inhabit. So let's celebrate, embrace diversity, and then only we can be an inclusive society. We can coexist with mutual respect, with happiness. That's the definition of happiness for me. And then each one of us can adorn a beautiful smile everywhere, wherever we go. We carry a smile, and that smile is sustainable because we take care of this present generation by taking care of our future. We owe it to our children. We cannot do something which will destroy our future generation. That is the essence of sustainable development goals.
Thank you so much. While you were speaking, things, they were coming out from the heart. And I think we were having a lot of messages that teachers, they have taken the ideas. There are some very different questions with sustaining smiles. And one important question, which is, how can I make my students smile in the mathematics class? She's a PGT mathematics.
Yeah, I can tell you. How can you make students smile? Because don't think that I'm a maths teacher. My duty is to transact maths in the class. Can you teach maths through a story? Isn't it? Can you give some, suppose you are teaching, can you take the children to the basketball court and give the concept of height and distance and force and energy and diameter and all those things? That is true learning. Transforming knowledge to another sphere, transforming skill from the classroom to real life. So that's how learning takes place. Once I was going through one international conference, and then the person said that a good teacher is a teacher who eats an apple every day. A good teacher is a teacher who sings well. So this is a math teacher who thought that I am a terrific singer. So how can I sing in the class? So he was a lot of innovation. So the day he took the courage and said that today I will teach whatever I'll teach through a rap song. So he came to the class, and then the person who doesn't take interest at all in maths, a backbencher, doesn't even look at him. So that day he gave full attention, and while going, he said a high five and said that you sing very badly, but you rock today in the class. So that is the definition of a teacher. We should display learning in the class. Can we solve a problem together? Can we show that even I don't know this? Let's solve together. Then only true learning will take place. As a math teacher, if we really bring in the whole community to the classroom, as an economics teacher, if my classroom is mini India and I play simulation game and I am teaching globalization, global trade, I mean international trade, national trade, district level trade, and local trade. I can play a simulation game and then making them pair, exchanging 10 rupees products, and then satisfaction core, then exchange between 4 people, exchange between 8 people and 16 people, then the market is open, means international market. Can I give concept? Through Bollywood music, if I teach the concept of opportunity cost, scarcity, choices, if I do that, do bigha jameen, lagan, खर्चा अठाना ऐसे कुछ है वो गाना. I did that, and then 12 beautiful songs they were singing, and they identified the economic concept there. All were smiling. And my job is done. I wanted to revise that chapter, and they said we don't want to read today. Bilkul ma'am mat padhaiye. So I did not teach. Let's play a game. Can you find out any concept, economic concept in Bollywood music? So boys sang and girls found out the concept. That's how. So we can create magic in the classroom.
I think another question again by a PGT teacher. How can we satisfy students by asking questions at the end of the day? I think you have already answered. Still, if you would like to share something.
I would say most of the time, like as I'm sharing my own experience. The share market, money market, capital market, share market going up, going down. So they say that, ma'am, why the share market crashed today? What happened? Why it went up? I cannot say that this is not in your curriculum. So
Right.
your exam is coming. Let me complete my chapter, and then later on. At the moment when you are teaching, you say that, yes, definitely, very interesting question. I will deal with it. Can I complete this? And then definitely you have to go back and tell the child. Otherwise, that inquisitiveness, that curiosity, you will kill it. So teaching and learning cannot be confined to the textbook and standardized test. We need to evolve. At least our profession demands at least minimum 1 hour research every day in your subject. In any other part of the world, what is happening? What innovation?
And it's not difficult. I mean, even if you are moving on the road, watching TV, watching some WhatsApp message, you get the ideas, you get the clues. Only thing is you need to condition your mind to implement it or link it with your own subject.
Yeah. Even if you discuss just like that, children sometimes say that, आज पढ़ने की मूड नहीं है. Okay, नहीं पढ़ेंगे. What is happening in your life? What is the last movie you saw? Movies also reflect society only. Can we have a meaningful discussion there? So 40 lively children are sitting in front of you. How can you be mute? You cannot be. So this is the opportunity how you can groom them, how you can orient them, sensitize them about a very important, relevant topic, even if you are not dealing with your subject.
Thank you so much. Any participants who wants to share some story or some episode that how the grit was maintained, how the perseverance was maintained for sustaining SMILE, so that the other participants, they can today doing same in my class. Okay, Manisha Tripathi is writing. Great Manisha ma'am. Anybody wishes to share? Okay, by the time, in case we get any message in the chat box, we will give the audio video right to you. But I'll request Kriti ma'am for the formal vote of thanks. It was really, inspiring, straight from the heart, and really loved it. As such, I'm a great fan of yours, and I really love anything and everything what you say, you do. We do follow you on various platforms, various social, and it's a, you are loaded. You have a special chip of new ideas. So it's always on.
Mukta ma'am, can I appeal one thing? If teachers are listening, very, very passionate about climate change and its impact. So if you really encourage your children, even yourself, you role model, saying what climate action we can take. In the class, if 1 minute you just discuss about water footprint or carbon footprint, you are wearing that jeans, you are having a cup of coffee, how many liters of water has gone into it, coffee beans when produced. So that is
Right.
water footprint. How much carbon footprint? I mean, if we make aware, just encourage them to save 1 liter of water every day. And how did they do? And let them come and share that in the classroom. Then the best practices are shared, and that would create really magic, and we can take care of our environment or restructuring ecosystem, because planet is one, we do not have planet B. So you can make beautiful videos and share on climate action.
True. Thank you. Thank you so much. Over to Kriti, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good
Sudha ma'am,
evening.
still the messages are there that you can continue, but time is not permitting us. We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
But still, the participants, that shows that everybody wants to have, to sustain their smiles, and they want to listen to more and more and more ideas from you. We will have another session, maybe post Diwali. So there will not be any session next week. Now we'll be having the sessions next to next week, waiting for you and maintaining this excitement and engagement, maintaining your smiles. Wish you a very happy Diwali. Over to Kriti, please.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I, Kriti Kapoor, on behalf of Samurja Educational Society, feels extremely grateful to Dr. Sudha Acharya ma'am for conducting such an insightful session. We are certain that the lessons learned here will go a long way into strengthening the teaching learning exercises in the classrooms and will encourage building of thoughtful relationships between the teacher and the students. We are also grateful to Mukta ma'am for providing us such learning opportunities with such wonderful sessions. I also thank Team Samurja, and I'm also grateful to all the participants who posed their faith in us and made the session a success. It's because of your participation that we are motivated to design more learning opportunities. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Monica and Kriti, for the creative work, for the research you do in preparing the videos and maintaining the things, keeping posted all the participants. Thank you, everyone, and wish you a very happy green Diwali.
Wish you a very happy Diwali.
Thank you.
Thank you.